So hi everyone, I welcome you once again to yet another video on GATE. So we were actually saying about the thermodynamics topic and we'll be continuing with the same thing. So this question is from open system of your thermodynamics. So let's get started with this particular question. A steam turbine receives steam steadily at 10 bar. So it is clearly mentioned that it is a turbine and we know that this is going to be an open system, right? So for any kind of open system problem, we'll be applying the steady flow energy equation to get it solved, right? So they have said that the steam steadily enters at 10 bar pressure, so it is P1, the entry point condition has been given, and the enthalpy content itself has been directly given, and to give a gentle reminder that H is equal to U plus PV. So we know that the enthalpy is nothing but sum of internal energy and flow work, right? And this enthalpy value itself has been provided in the question, and this has been given in kilojoules. And if you want, if you are trying to maintain the standard international system units, you can just convert this kilojoules into joules just by multiplying it by 10 power 3. And since it is the entry condition, I can say that it is once again H1. And discharges, which means at the outlet condition with the pressure 1 bar, so I can say it is P2. And the enthalpy at the discharge condition is also been given, which is H2, and again kilojoules. If you want, you can convert this into joules. The work output is also been given, and we know that turbine is a work producing device, right? So this turbine work has been given, work output, and this is also been given in kilojoules, and you can just convert this into joules. It is into 10 power 3, and everything has been clearly mentioned for per kg, right? And the change in kinetic and potential energies are negligible, right? The heat transfer from the turbine casing to the surrounding is actually equal to, generally we used to take the turbine expansion process as isentropic or reversible adiabatic, right? So it is isentropic or reversible adiabatic. So for general case, we would have taken your Q out to be equal to 0, since it is perfectly insulated condition is what the assumption is. But according to this particular question, they are actually asking you to find out this Q out because it is not perfectly isentropic, right? So option A, it is 0 kilojoules, option B, it is 50 kilojoules, option C, 150 kilojoules, and option D, 250 kilojoules. And this question has been asked in the year GATE 2000, right? Okay, it's a standard question which you can expect for 1 marks as well as for 2 marks. So as I previously said that you are able to get few things, and as usual, as I try to say, you can just draw a diagram for a diagrammatic representation so that you'll get a clear idea. And this is my inlet condition, and this is my discharge condition or outlet. And we know that turbine is a one which produces work, right? So it is a work producing device and it is not a work consuming device. You don't require any input work to be given for this particular device, and clearly an open system, because we know that a certain amount of mass flows through in and goes out, right? And to be fact, it is steam turbine, so certain amount of mass of steam will enter into the turbine and leave the turbine, right, after doing some work. And we know that this is an expansion process. We generally used to take this as an isentropic process or reversible adiabatic, but in this case they have said that it is not perfectly isentropic, which I have concluded from this statement that we need to find out the heat transfer from the turbine casing to the surrounding, right? Okay, so hope this is clear. And now let's apply the steady flow energy equation in the manner what I say. So those who are actually very comfortable with steady flow energy equation can directly even fetch the answer, but that is not the case. Always try to apply the steady flow energy equation in this format so that it will be very easy. So for the inlet condition, the total energy at the inlet section should be equal to the total energy at the outlet section according to the first law of thermodynamics. So if I try to apply the total energy at the first section, I'll be getting these terms: internal energy plus flow work. Flow work I can write it as P1 V1 for with respect to the inlet condition, plus generally your kinetic energy would have been represented as half mv square, right? And mass, it is clearly mentioned in the question for each and every data of enthalpy that it is 1 kg. So also instead of v, I'm going to use the letter c, so it is going to be c square by 2, right? Okay, so c1 square by 2. So kinetic energy has been written, plus potential energy has to be written. So potential energy, we know that generally we used to represent that as mg into h, right? So again mass is going to be 1 kg, and instead of this height h, I'm going to represent it as z. So it is going to be g z1 plus then the other possibilities are either there could be heat input and work input, right? And similarly in the outlet condition I can go for u2 plus p2 v2 plus c2 square by 2 plus gz2 plus workout plus heat out, right? So if you just try to take the turbine as a device, we definitely know that a turbine is not a work consuming device. So I can say that W input is 0, and we don't supply any heat here at the inlet of the turbine. Instead, we used to supply exactly at the boiler, right? So I can say that Q in is also going to be equal to 0. And one more thing is we know that turbine is definitely a work producing device. So this term will be there, and you don't need to follow any sign convention when you try to apply the steady flow energy equation in this format. And we are supposed to find out the heat loss, right? Generally we used to take in the isentropic manner, where we would have neglected this q out, but for this case this is the one which we have to find out, right? Okay, now they clearly mentioned that the kinetic energy change and potential energy changes are negligible, so we can cancel the velocity terms as well as the datum head terms or potential head terms on both the sides. And we know that this term can be represented as enthalpy at the first section, and this term can be represented as enthalpy at the second section, right? Okay, generally try to follow the standard international units where you have to go for meters and joule substitution. But now your steady flow energy equation gets reduced to this format: h1 plus q, it is h1 which is equal to h2 plus w out plus q out, right? So this is found to be a little bit easy. And now you know that the h1 value has been given, h2 value has been given, and you'd also been given with the work output value. Now we are supposed to find out the q out, right? So if you try to calculate, your q out will have a negative sign. This negative sign it tries to indicate that it is definitely going outside the system, right? Once if you follow this type of equation, which you might have read in your BTech using your PK Nag book, but I'm actually following Sengel and Bowles, where you can actually try to write safely your steady flow energy equation like this, where you can avoid the sign convention and you can very easily find out the answer. So your Q out for this case would be simply equal to H1 minus H2 and minus W out. So if you do so, your H1 value has been given as 3000 kilojoules if you try to substitute in kilojoules, minus H2 value is around 2700, and W output is actually 250, right? So we'll be getting the answer as 3000 minus 2950. So it is going to be 50 kilojoules. So here you don't expect any sign like negative to be present, because already we have found out Q out, right? Okay. So if you just get back to the options, I can say that option B is the correct answer. Hope you might have got this question. And let's just move on to the next question. So it's a very important type. Hope this question has been repeated twice in GATE so far, as well as once in ESE. A 2 kilowatt 40-liter water heater is being switched on for 20 minutes and the heat capacity of water, Cp value of water, has been given as 4.2 kilojoules per kg Kelvin. Assuming all the electrical energy has gone into the heating the water, the increase of the water temperature in degree centigrade is dash. Question was asked in the year 2003, and we have been given with four options. Option A, it is 2.7, option B, it is 4, option C, it is 14.3, and option D, it is 25.25, right? So see, now if you note down one thing, that 40-liter water heater, so the capacity value has been given, which is nothing but your volume, right? So volume has been given, and it is said that it is rated as 2 kilowatt power, right? Okay. And they have also mentioned you about the Cp value of water, and they have given an important assumption that all the electrical energy has gone only to heating the water and there is no wastage. So that is the main important key point which you have to understand from this question. And generally if they ask you something like increase or decrease, then it is del, right? They're asking for increase in temperature, so it is delta T is what we are actually looking for. So again, clearly it is a thermodynamic question, so we need to apply the first law of thermodynamics to find out this answer. So let's get solved with this particular problem. See, first try to draw a diagram as I usually used to say. Now, uh, imagine that this is your water heater, and it is said that 2 kilowatt, right? So it is clearly a power, and we know that power is nothing but rate of doing work, right? So what is actually 2 kilowatts? So it is 2 into 10 power 3 watts, right? And I can say that it is 2 into 10 power 3. What is watts? Watts is nothing but joule per second. So for 1 second, this much amount of energy or work is being consumed, right? So we can just multiply with the actual case of what we have used for, and clearly said that it is 2 kilowatt, but we have used it only for 20 minutes, right? So it is for 1 second this much amount of energy or work is being consumed. So let us just multiply it by uh, 20 minutes, right? So we can convert this into seconds, so it is 20 into 60. Now if you do so, this second and second will get cancelled and you will get the total answer in joules. Hope you might have understood this. Always try to substitute in joules, right? So if your work is in joule per second, which is watts or kilowatt, first convert that into the actual value of joule by multiplying it with the actual consumption time, where you will get the answer in joules. So that's what I have done. Now I can say that clearly this is my work, right? So I can say that work is being given inside. Now, an important assumption comes into play. Here they have said that all the electrical energy is used only for heating the water, and there is nothing like Q out from this, which you have to understand. So I can say that Q out is 0, which means it is a perfectly insulated one, right? Okay, so Q out is also 0. Now, let me apply the first law of thermodynamics for a process, and here it is a heating process. We know that your Q is equal to del U, which is change in internal energy, plus W, right? Okay. Now we know that since this is a work which is being supplied to the system, or I can say that work done on the system, this is going to be negative. So instead of this plus, I can just convert this into minus. And I can say that my Q is actually equal to 0, because there is no heat interaction which has been allowed here, because it is perfectly insulated given in the question. So if I try to so it is 0 over here. So let me bring this W to the other side of the equation. So it is W is equal to del U. Now again note down one thing, that if your del U generally will be in terms of joules or kilojoules, so your work should also be in joule, right? But in the problem they have given that it is in watts, which is joule per second, and for which we have used this actual time consumption to be multiplied to convert the work into joules, right? Okay, now your work is actually known to you, so which is 2 into 10 power 3 into 20 into 60, right? Which should be now equated to change in internal energy. And change in internal energy, we know that generally we used to have mcv delta t for all process, right? This formula of del U is actually valid, but generally we used to tackle with gases where we'll actually try to use the specific heat at constant volume, and if it is an incompressible substance we try to use the MCP delta T, right? Okay, now delta T is what we are actually looking for, and CP value has been clearly mentioned in the question. And if you try to see what has been given in the question, specific heat has been given as 4.2 kilojoules, right? Roughly for water you can always assume this value, and I can substitute 4.2 into 10 power 3. Now the only thing which I have to find out is mass, right? For which they have given a clue that its capacity, that is I can say that the volume value has been given as 40 liter, right? So I can say that 40 divided by 1000 will give me the volume in meter cube, which is standard international once again, right? Now I can't substitute the mass value to be 1 kg because I have been given with the volume value. So I can say that density equal to mass by volume, right? And density of water, we know that depending upon the temperature it will change, but for most of the cases roughly we can take 1000 kg per meter cube. So density is known, volume is known, I'll be able to find out the mass value. Once after finding so, I can substitute the mass value. Already CP is known, so I'll be able to find out the delta T. Hence, if you try to find out the delta T answer, it is coming around as 14.285 degrees Celsius, or you can round it off to 14.3 degree. And if you refer to the options which has been given here, I can say that option C is a correct answer. So hope you might have understood this and enjoyed this video. So if you like my video, please do subscribe, review, rate and recommend to your friends. And for any newcomers, you can just watch my previous video and then try to come back over here so that you'll be able to understand in a better way. We'll just meet up in the next class. Thank you. Bye.